One of them.
They're all county roads, correct?
Right, yeah.
And they have not notified
They've not
us
notified us that they,
that they're doing anything.
Well, I think that would be something we should look into due to the fact we have, what, 4 or 5 major developments. I mean, we had the Spore family in here, and they want to build a big development here, and Doug, you and I have had conversations, and I've said this before, that I think the traffic is one of the big issues. Forget the sewer, forget the water, it's the traffic and all of these traffic studies, which clearly show we can't absorb this kind of traffic.
Yeah. We know that. We did as I shared with the public, we did our own individual impartial. We paid for it. County didn't pay for it, state didn't pay for it, the builder didn't pay for it. Our citizens paid for it. We used the computers and systems in the county to run them on, so that our study could interface with other municipality studies.
Right.
Okay. We know we have level F failing places throughout there. We're a dozen of them or so.
I think it was about 15 of them.
Right. In the town of
Craigville, Old Chester, 17M.
So no matter what they say in their studies, we've got the data, and it's going to do nothing but get worse. So yes, that will be part of the equation for anybody to be building going forward.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I thank you for your time. I think you guys are doing really a good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Gary Weil. Came to my attention that Joanne was here. I was at Opportunity last week. Was she in making a report to the board?
No. Oh, well, I think it was the week before.
Oh, the week before the reval.
Yeah, reval status of where we stand.
The reason I mentioned this, I just wanted to see if you had any conversation with her yet regarding these overturning of assessments that have been lowered by the court.
As I've shared with you before, the assessor is an appointed position. We, by New York state law, need to keep the politics and our board out of it, per the advice of our attorney. So I don't discuss the particulars of things. Administratively, I support her as best we can.
The problem with that, though, Doug, is I called the state of New York.
Yes.
Office of Real Property.
Right.
It appears that assessors have no supervision. They don't answer to anybody.
They're appointed just like a judge is.
Yes.
And for a finite period of time, based on their qualifications, so forth and so on.
Whatever actions they take appear that there's no consequence for that.
Well, it has to be within the legal classification of that.
Right, and I'm bringing to the attention to this board that I'm now up to 4 homeowners who have identified to me that their court-ordered property assessments have been lowered in the year 2008, and they have been reversed and put back where they were previous to that in 2010.
Well, that's not a reversal.
Why wouldn't that be a reversal? Was there an improvement in that property?
Well, the way I understand it, it's for that year. And then the following year, Dennis, maybe you can bring us up to speed on this. If they don't reverse the original thing, in other words, if you have the tax certiorari.
Yes, they reversed the lowered amount back to where it was.
The lowered amount is for that year. I think you have to file each year and go through the process if you want to lower it.
No,
I don't know.
Any other town, and every other town I've encountered, once the assessment has been lowered, it stays unless there has been a revow of all of the property, or there was an improvement made on those properties that call for an adjustment to that. There is something called a freeze rule, correct, though? That for 1 year, that the homeowner's reduced taxes can't be touched, and the homeowner can't bring an additional complaint against the town. But what's happening here is reductions have been reversed in a market where there is no cause for the assessor to put the properties back. There is no oversight on the assessor's behavior, so to speak. There's nobody that's these homeowners can turn to other than going back to the small claims court to file the same motions that they did 2 years previous. And unfortunately, this prevents a homeowner who feels that their property has fallen further in value to get justice. So what's going on here is, it's sort of like a block. A homeowner comes for relief. They get relief. It gets overturned a year later. So therefore, if the house has fallen further in value over that period of time, they can't get it lowered past, because there's a maximum amount that they're allowed to get a reduction at any small claims court hearing. And what I'm asking is for the board to just find out what the justification is for the reversal. Not saying that, that she has to be punished.
Well,
just saying, what is the justification for it?
I'd like to hear what Dennis has to say on this. He's an attorney.
Yeah, basically the colloquy is correct in the sense that under SCAR proceedings, small claims assessment reviews, if there is a judicial hearing officer who hears the cases, and if they are reduced, there is a freeze for 1 year. But by law, the charge to the assessor, I can't speak for any other town or even for Joanne may or may not do, but I think she follows this procedure. By law, the assessments are to be established each year, meaning they are to be examined and reviewed and established, monetarily speaking or arithmetically, each year on whatever basis. So it's because they may be reinstated from a lower level subsequent to a judicial ruling, doesn't necessarily mean that they're being what I call back charged or reestablished. Right. She may have whatever rationale. Right. And the only thing I would disagree with Gary on is that in order to place an assessment, it doesn't mean that there has to be some construction and or addition or change to the property.
Well, then why would these single homes be spotted out, in particular, for reassessment? And the rest of the town is not being revalued.
Well, without doing an analysis, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know what the methodology was.
That's why I'm asking for somebody to look into this, because it appears that only people who won cases in small claims court are having these reversals happen to them.
See, that's not fair there. I mean, again,
reversals, I mean. Not changes in their assessment, but reversal going back without any kind of improvement made to this home.
Because all I can say, well, I don't know. I will say this. A great proportion of the SCAR proceedings result in reduced assessments. On a subsequent valuation date, it's a subsequent year, each of those properties, I assume, are examined by the assessor's office. And I have no indication or knowledge that only those which were reversed, if you will, have been the subject of increases. I don't know.
Not all of them. I'm just saying that I know of 4 myself.
My best advice to you, I've done this with a number of private individuals who've contacted me in the public, and I've said to them, just go into the office, because they're entitled to an explanation. And those 4 homeowners, I assume or would hope that they would have contacted the assessor's office, whether it's Joanne or...
Unfortunately, the majority of homeowners are scared to death of ever coming in front of the assessor.
But I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why? Because, I don't know.
I mean, I've been in that office when people coming in, and she spends as much time as they need to. And really, I mean, spreads it out and works with them on it. I mean, I think that's no.
Yeah, if I can interject, I would actually encourage them to come in, because I agree with Doug's comment. I've sent any number of people, because again, I don't expect myself to be able to explain why your numbers are what they are, what your taxes are what they are. And I always refer a number of people to the office. And I've never yet had someone contact me and say they were dissatisfied or they were upset or I sent them on a wild goose chase.
Well,
they were always treated very fairly.
I'm not saying that Joanne does not talk to the homeowners in a nice way, and she does. And she even talks to me in a nice way when we get a chance to negotiate back and forth to make sure things wind up the way they should. But in the end here, the concern I have is that she has the ability, again, I can't, these are cases that are active. So until I get invited in to speak to her, I can't come in and confront her with my case. Because we wind up in front of a judge.
Yeah,